get started. Appreciate all the students and gamers for joining Black College Con. Hope it's been a great day so far. As you can tell, we've got an amazing and energetic panelist group lined up for you. Obviously, we've been kind of backstage and on stage kind of chopping it up and talking to each other. So excited to get into this conversation. As you can tell, there's a lot of energy around this and a lot of authentic relationships that are being created and some that have already existed. So stay tuned for this dynamic panel. We'll jump right in with a couple of introductions. I'll start by introducing Gerard Hip Hop Gamer Williams, who is a New York native from East Brooklyn, who's passionate about both video games and hip hop. Through his passion, he transformed himself into the ultimate video game journalist, who is a character in such games as Watch Dogs 2 and the NBA 2K Playground series. Also creating theme music for games like Twisted Metal and Halo. That he impacts a lot of the kids in guidance, program building, all the worlds together into one identity. That identity is indeed the hip hop gamer. Hip hop gamer now hosts one of the most popular weekly video game shows called the Hip Hop Gamer Show on the internet. And there's a lot more to come with new ventures that go out beyond just gaming. So stay tuned for that. Hip Hop Gamer is also a music artist who captures the best of the raw New York hip hop audience, Hip Hop Gamer, glad to have you.
Yo, you already know what it is, man. It's the one and only hip hop gamer, no stranger to danger, #1 journalist. Quickly, we changed the game up. The new STEM panel is live and lit, and I thank you so much, Brandon, and everybody that's here. Let's go. Also, bro, somebody said that they can't hear anything, so I guess talk with the audience, make sure they can hear us, because they need to hear us and feel us right now.
Absolutely.
They absolutely do. Unfortunately,
I don't have
the
he felt that, so we
lit. To be able to. Okay, we good. All
right, we good. We lit. Let's go.
Our next panelist, Travis Williams, who began his career in entertainment in 1990 as one of the co-creators of The World of Darkness, role-playing games from White Wolf. The World of Darkness properties Vampire, Werewolf, and Mage. Am I saying that right?
Mage.
Went on to become comics, television shows, video games, and novels. As a game producer, Travis has produced Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, X-Men, and X-Men Children of the Atom, to award-winning adventure games, Hell, Bureau 13, Sanitarium, to massively multiplayer online games, The Matrix Online, Vanguard, Saga of Heroes, DC Universe, and then on to social sandbox gaming such as Pain on PlayStation. Call there. The vice president of gaming at Lightstorm Entertainment, where he was responsible for Titanic, Aladia, and Avatar games across all digital media formats. Travis, welcome.
Thank you. Look, I'm fresh off that last panel with a lot of people that I actually know and love, and this is an honor to be here. So thank you, everyone, for having me. And I can't get more energetic than Gerard. It's not possible.
I don't think either one of us.
It's
not happening.
It's a wise move. It's a wise move to let Hip Hop Gamer carry the energy in this panel. We'll all feed off him for sure.
Believe that.
That's
right. Last and certainly not least, Ms. Jacqueline Beauchamp. Jacqueline S. Beauchamp is a seasoned international businesswoman, media entrepreneur with more than 25 within the digital technology and entertainment industry. Ms. Beauchamp is currently the co-founder and chairwoman of and CEO of Engage Media LLC, a multi-platform digital media and entertainment company that develops video games, VR and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, of course, immersive experiences, mobile applications, animated children's books, animated film, and motion picture productions to inform, educate, and entertain. Before co-founding Engage Media LLC, Ms. Beauchamp was co-founder of Energized Entertainment Incorporated, which became the first African-American-led video game studio to ship on Microsoft Xbox 360 console, thus leading the company being featured as the promotional showcase for CNN's Black in America, the new promised land, Silicon Valley, with Soledad O'Brien. There's a lot of nuggets just in that first paragraph. I want to let that sink in for a second. We're definitely dealing with someone who has made moves in this area. So congratulations. Beauchamp is the 25-year high-tech multimedia and executive level corporate experience includes Fortune 500 companies such as IBM and Motorola. While at IBM, Ms. Beauchamp obtained the U.S. patent for a high-density memory module and received the Distinguished Division Award as a key member of the design team for the IBM point of sales display retail product. Motorola is also on her resume, where she was the first African-American general manager of the company and led multimedia systems division, where she was responsible for overseeing and leading a global team of more than 250 people. This team developed digital set-up box platforms, silicon technology for high-end audio equipment, DVD consoles, and digital setup boxes, as well as the development, licensing, and distributed video games to the organization's digital setup box consumers. Ms. Beauchamp also has the expertise in international project funding and financial engineering, where she spent 5 years on assignment in Costa Rica, Panama, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, London, and the list from there. With Southern University A&M College, Ms. Beauchamp holds a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering with minors in computer science, math, and she is a proud mother of her oldest daughter, Corbin, who is also a graduate of Ms. Beauchamp's alma mater. Ms. Jacqueline, great to have you, and welcome to the panel.
Hey, great to be here. As Travis said, I can't do it like Gerard, but hey, I'm just happy to be in the house. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. So thank you all for having me.
Shout out to the Jags, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Jags.
Yo,
there you go. Shout out to the Jags.
Yo, I gotta say this. That whole experience just now going through your greatness, Jacqueline, you gotta clap it up. I don't care if you were in the chat. I don't care if you were in the chat. You gotta clap it up. Yo, that was fire. Love you. Let's go.
Thank you. And thank you. Hey, look, that's leaving corporate America is affording me to come out and do what I'm doing to help lift up our people and expose them to these industries. This has to happen. This is so critical, guys. So look, I just thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this, and let's lift our brothers and sisters up to let them know they are the future.
Amen.
And we need them. We need them.
Absolutely. And look, full disclosure, I know we've got a lot of good content that we want to get into, a lot of questions. So I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I cut out half of Miss Jackie's bio and certainly hope to hear more about that. But definitely wanted to get into the question. So absolutely salute to you for being a true trailblazer and pioneer and someone who's absolutely shaking the table in this industry. So let's get into it and let's discuss the new step. Actually, let me take a step back. I'm so rude. I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Brandon Thompson. I'm the Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion at NAS. Happy to be here to host and sort of guide the conversation throughout this panel today. Obviously, esports has taken on a whole new meaning for NASCAR in the last year in particular, but esports has been a place where we've been trying to focus a lot of our efforts for the past 3 to 5 years, probably. But we are happy that we were able to restart our own season during quarantine and during the pandemic in the very beginning when things were kind of locked down. And we were able to sort of emerge amongst out of the ashes, so to speak, of a lot of other sports just due to our quick pivot to esports and iRacing. And so proud to stand before you today as an employee of NASCAR, where we hold the record for the top 6 most viewed esports events in esports history on television with the 6 races that we were able to do, kicking off at Homestead last year virtually. And wouldn't you know it, that we're back here in Homestead right now. I'm reporting live from Miami, getting ready for the big race weekend down at Homestead Miami Speedway. So again, we welcome all of the panelists for sure, but all of the gamers and college students who are here as well.
Little known fact, I was actually born in Homestead.
Oh, word?
Nice.
All right.
There it is. It all comes together.
Wow.
And there was an Air Force base there. Yep.
Comes together.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited about this panel. Let's jump into it. So let's discuss the new STEM. And Gerard, why don't we start with you with this question? So one letter at a time. You know, we talk about this whole notion of new STEM. Typically, it's science, technology, engineering, and math. That a little bit. So talk to us a little bit about sound, technology, still engineering, and media. And so I think, you know, if we break those down sort of one by one, sound is obviously music, the broadcasters, the choreography, things that go along with that. The technology is what it is, the animation, the graphic design, obviously the engineering, the software, the design, the development of a lot of these games. But then the media, the entertainment part of this. And I definitely want to touch on that as we go through, but obviously the PR, the communications, and social media. So Gerard, when we go through those, is there anything that you would change? Is there anything that you agree with? Is there anything, like, do you buy into this notion of a new STEM?
No, well, first off, I like the way you remixed it with the media side of it, because what people have to understand, the importance of the media is the law of attraction. So let's say you make a game or anything that you do, before people touch it and experience it, they got to see it. They got to look at it. So if what you're looking at isn't attractive, something like that, something to bring you in, then everything else doesn't matter at that point, because if nobody's going to touch it or experience, or that other work, goes away. So it's very important that you have the law of attraction to bring people in. And also you want to make it cool. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, a lot of this stuff is high school. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all and everybody that's in the chat. Like, a lot of this stuff is very high school-ish, where you have your different cliques, you have your different I love PlayStation or I love Xbox. You have your different people that love whatever they love, but there's a reason for it. And that all stems from the law of attraction with the media. So the key thing with this new STEM, what I love about it is when you think about the science part or in the sound, without sound, you can't feel it. So that right there plays a major role. And I'm a music artist. I make songs for games. So we understand the importance of the soundtrack. That's one. Now, the technology side of it, if you look at the PlayStation 5 right now, the new haptics, the way things feel, getting us more immersed, that right there alone creates conversation, but also there's so much value in the knowledge of it where you could take that and expand it into other areas. Why you think machine learning and AI is so important now? You understand? It all ties into one another. Then the engineering part is very important as well, because without the engineering, we have no product. So every step works together in order for it to run. But without the media, without that attention, without people talking about it, without all of that, everything else falls by the wayside, because you got to be able to grab somebody's attention. It's just like what y'all say right now with the energy. If there's no energy and it's a dead panel, people don't really want to hear what you got to say because there ain't no energy here. It's like, I want to go where the party at, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So we got to create a party to get everybody to come in. And when they come in, we give them the meat and the potatoes. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we all work together. That's why the new STEM, I love it. I like that. Let's keep that moving, son. I'm with that.
Dig that. Travis, let's get your spin on that.
A new STEM, when I look at that loosely defined, it just sort of reminds me of the collaborative effort that it takes actually to make triple to quad A, actually even indie titles. You need all of these things working together in unison actually to create anything that's going to be of any sort of lasting value, anything that's going to be worth. So when I started, and I always say that, it's been a long road, right? I mean, this is year 31 for me. So, your teams were 4 or 5 people, everybody's in this, in some room, and, collaboration wasn't really that hard, right? When you look at the Avatar game that, I was working on, it's in excess of 200 people. So that takes collaboration to a new level. So when you think about, so once upon a time, it used to be like, I have a sound guy, you know, I have a tech woman. You know, now you have sound teams, tech teams, you know, engineering teams and media teams. You know, it's at that point now where your simulations are just much more much deeper than they used to be, and you know, so the collaborative spirit behind making games now is more important than ever. So when I look at that more or less composes everything that you need to take a game from, you know, inception or conception to execution. So that's what it means to me.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, I appreciate that. And you definitely touched on a couple things I want to come back to. So, Jacqueline, we'll pivot to you. And so same question, but then I want to layer on top of that one just to sort of redirect to something that Travis hit on that I want to touch on is that, do you mind talking about the evolution of this industry as well and sort of how you've seen it again? And we'll come back around the horn and touch all of you with that. But that was something you hit on, Travis, that I definitely wanted to dig a little deeper on.
Sure.
Okay, sure, no problem. Evolution. Let me share with you my skill set from evolution, from analog to digital, because that's really the transition that makes a lot of the experiences become the experiences. Really, I don't see it as a new STEM. I see it as an evolution that's being allowed to take place because of the evolution of the technology. When you evolve the technical ability, the technology that's available from analog to digital, it opens up an enormous amount of opportunity. Give you a good example. 25 or 20 years ago, some of the top 10 companies that exist today did not exist. Think about that. Facebook didn't exist. Google didn't exist. Netflix didn't exist. Amazon didn't exist. What happened? The advent and the continuation and expansion of new technology allows for different customer experiences and the demand for new products and the demand for new services, the demand for new content. And when you have all of that, you've got to be able to tie in, like Travis stated. Some things initially you would have a design team or a dev team of maybe 10 people, 15 people. Now you're up to like you said, 200 plus people that's required to create certain technology or to create a product that's, you know, or triple title content. And you've got to be able to look at and know how to navigate and pivot and when to expand, when not to expand, where to expand, where your key touch points within that pipeline. And what I love about what Gerard stated was the sound, the beat, the music, how all of that has become such an integral part of the experience. You have to have those elements there. So what does that do? That drives partnerships, that drives new expansions on your dev team, right? You know, at one point we were never dealing with artists, hip hop artists in particular. Now it's driving certain aspects of the promo, the games themselves, how their music is tied into the experience of what the video game actually is. It's unbelievable about how all of these tie-ins are now taking place, and what is driving those things really is the evolution of technology. I'm at the end of the day, I am a technology and an inventor at heart. But so what I will state to our young people: still understand the technology that's behind all of this, which is so critical, and everything that's state is on top of it are all of the products, content, and services that the consumer, the fan, is actually demanding and wanting. That's how you drive markets and how you drive industry. But we got to understand still, we got to go out there and invent tech as well as create the products themselves.
Absolutely, Jack. Appreciate that. So, Travis, kind of making our way back the other way, and Gerard, we'll get to you on this. Is from your seat, how have you seen things change and evolve? You know, given that you've been around this, like you said, for 31 years now, and you're getting into this in the 90s. Is, you know, I can't even, I could guess, but I want you to tell the the people in the chat, because I get the sense that we're a few years older collectively than the people who are probably listening. So I definitely got some things I want to weigh in on, but want to hear from you. You're an expert in the space.
I think it's the level of depth. It's a never ending, sort of cycle of, how much depth that you actually put into any simulation to make it more complete or to make it more robust. When I got in, I started doing Game Boy and Game Gear, Nintendo Entertainment, system games, where you could have five people. 3D cards weren't even a thing. Right. So that gives you an example, right? And every time you go a level deeper, the impetus or the desire to get deeper, continues on and on and on and on. You take a look at pole position versus Forza or Gran Turismo. Okay. That gives you an example of what I have seen during my career. That's the level that's the level of depth, and really what that means, or how that translates, I think, for people who are listening is understand that, once again, like I said, you used to have that one person. Now you have teams of people, right? So that means there's more room.
Yeah,
there's more room, and your skills, you might not realize it, are very applicable to this. And I find it actually interesting. When I actually saw the flyer for this, and I saw NASCAR, right? And I was like, NASCAR. Okay, well that's interesting, right? I actually spent a year and a half actually studying NASCAR, because I had to consult on a Jeff Gordon game, and so so understanding NASCAR was like, almost a 2-year deal. Like games used to be made in 10 months, and yet I was, so I was spending almost 2 years looking at NASCAR, like, why this, why that? Every time I would hear NASCAR on TV, for example, like I would just hear the of the cars, but I would invite anyone who's even casually interested to visit a pit at NASCAR. Those cars don't sound like that. They sound like what you think a T-Rex would sound like. It really is. It's different, right? And so that's what people have to look forward to in this business. Get in, choose your lane, yep. Okay, and go hard in the paint, right? And I mean that, because and I'll just say this before I stop, because I really can't go on. Is that you just don't realize like how deep the rabbit hole goes, okay? And your global competition, is tremendous. Right. And because of that, what this industry needs now is we need hardcore specialists. OK, and what that is that's creating these job opportunities, because you might not think that the skill that you have is applicable. Like, for example, like economics, like massively multiplayer games live or die by their economics. Right. But no one studying econ thinks that they have a place in the game industry, but you do. Do you like cutting hair?
Yeah.
do you realize how many avatar opportunities there are just actually making hairstyles, right? I had a friend of mine, a Black female producer, okay, who actually had to beat off people from coming to her to advise her to advise them on like what hairstyles actually make sense for a female protagonist or NPC, right? And so that's what we're talking about. Like, we are simulating reality, we are simulating fantasy as well, and we have a place in this as much as anyone. So choose your lane, go deep. Trust me, there's space for you here.
I love y'all, man. I'm just enjoying being here, for real. Oh, you just want me to jump in and take that bit?
I want to get to you.
Oh,
yeah, jump in there. Do that.
All right, cool. Yeah, because I'm trying to let you, moderate through your thing. All right, cool, bet. So, here's what I want to say. Right now, Brandon, you let me know if this is cool. But Douglas had a question, and I think I could wrap that question into the answer that I was going to provide anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? And his question was, should schools of today, primarily around the Black or minority communities, implement the new STEM in place of what we know as STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math? So to my answer in that question kind of aligns. So first of all, Douglas, yes, of course, man, like no question. And now let's break down why. So to Travis' point, there's so much more opportunity in the gaming space, period, because of how gaming has evolved based off the technology, AI, machine learning, sound, all of it. You know what I'm saying? You got TV shows using Unreal Engine to make it happen with The Mandalorian. Like, there's so many things that's happening. VR, AR, you name it. So here's what I want to break down. I'm going to say this in two parts. So the media part on my end, what I've seen evolve is, if you look at esports, right? That's the buzzword of the world right now. Everybody's trying to get in and get involved. One of the things that I'm starting to see that I like, and one of the things I'm starting to see that I don't like, is that you have people that genuinely love the space, and then you got people that genuinely are looking for opportunities to exploit the space because they have no knowledge of nothing, but they see an opportunity and money. That's it. So that's what I've seen. And I don't like that. And y'all know how I get down. I call people out, because I want to keep it authentic. So the first thing I would say that's very, very important to everybody that's in the chat is know what you want to do and make sure you love it and you have a passion for it, money or no money. Make sure you love it. Yep. Right? Because if you love it, you can make it your own and you can add to it and be not just a trendy person, but a trendsetter in that space. That's the first thing, right? I don't care if you're a cook or whatever. You can have, a Kratos dinner, like, you know what I'm saying? And make that as a business model in gaming. You'll be surprised at how this industry has evolved. So that's one. Make it whatever you love to do. Make it your own within the industry that you love. That's one of the biggest things I could tell you from a standpoint of how this industry has evolved. Because before, when it was just Nintendo and we blowing in cartridges and there was no online, we didn't have a space to be social. So the idea of being discovered, you couldn't be discovered because there was no platform for anybody to have a chance to shine. You understand what I'm saying? So when YouTube came out and Facebook 2006, and all these other things back in the day, before that, if you ain't have that in or you ain't know the right people at all, you wasn't getting noticed. So it made it seem like we didn't belong. Period. And so that was then and this is now. So that's the first thing I wanted to share with y'all. Whatever you want to do, make sure you love it. Because then you'll be able to flourish for real. That's one. Two, the next thing I would say in terms of the whole STEM, and this is more towards the answer Douglas' question, is as kids growing up, you want to give your son or your daughter what you had, but the thing is they're growing up in a different time. And one of the biggest problems is that a lot of parents or guardians or people don't want to nurture what's now. They trying to force what they knew years and years ago, and there's a friction there. So what I encourage people to do, especially in schools now, is embrace what these kids are growing up on, because the world that they're going to live in is a world that we didn't come up in. So we got to prepare them for what they got to be a part of. And that takes a lot of understanding in what's going on now. And the new STEM, the way this panel is broken down, is exactly the path that we need to go, because it all works in unison. It's all team oriented, and developing these skills, you have a lot more help and a lot more assistance to actually execute the dream that you have of doing what you want to do in the space. Boom.
I want to create Chef's dinner. I want to.
You're on point on that one, Gerard. You're definitely on.
I want to Kratos dinner. I don't know what that is, but I'm trying to get it. I'm just
man.
Saying, it's probably ribs.
It's
probably ribs.
Right.
Yeah, steak, some salmon.
If I could add.
Yeah, let's go. Next.
Yeah, if I could add to what Gerard is stating, look, I worked on a project with and to try to answer Dion and Douglas' question. I worked on a project with Texas A&M for 6 years, and what they had gotten project funding from the National Science Foundation to explore and to make the determination. They were trying to target diverse communities, African American women, and diverse communities, in trying to make the determination that they were going, if they're going to reach this demographic, how was the teaching model needed to be? How did they need to evolve what they were doing as a university to reach a particular demographic? And this was in electrical engineering, computer engineering, architecture. And they said, look, they wanted to test out the model of blending video gaming as a part of the learning experience. So for 5 years, we created platforms, we created the game, we created this entire world and space that allowed that model to be tested. And what it showed was not only did they learn quicker, they learned faster, they learned more, they were more engaged, they liked the platform. And to what Gerard is stating, you've got to change this up to where kids are right now today. And you can't keep teaching the exact same way and think, the results are going to end up being different. We've got to evolve to where our kids are, and whether we like it or not, entertainment, gaming, social, and I put it, these kids are always on play. They are the world is pressing and they're playing, right? So you've got to make sure that you understand and don't look at that as a negative connotation. My parents were educators. My father taught for almost 50 years. So he knew that things were going to evolve. He knew that the evolution of technology was going to put in place. And he also knew that he was going to have to teach differently when those things came to be. He didn't look at video gaming as a bad thing. And a lot of times parents would look at gaming, get these kids off of these consoles, get these kids off of playing games. Well, what you want to do is get them in the pipeline. And how do you get them involved in this industry? How do you get them from being a consumer of versus and becoming a developer, a creator of, owner of that? Because it's not going to change, right? So get them involved, like Gerard said, get them involved early on. And when I see colleges realizing that their teaching approach is going to have to change, it lets me know that it's got to go down to high schools. It has to go down to the middle schools, and we've got to do our part in helping to build a platform that can allow those things to take place. So the answer to the question is yes.
Can I add on to that? Yeah, Jacqueline.
Yeah, of course you can add on to that, man. I had to spin the chain on that one, son. I had to spin on chain. Hey, yo, Trav, before you add real quick, yo, Christian McGarry, don't go nowhere yet if you're still in this chat, because he wanted to know that he said he wants to become a writer in the entertainment and video game industry, and he wanted to know if he was in the right session. Yeah, you in the right session, bro. Don't leave yet.
Yeah.
After Trav. Yeah, after Trav say what he's saying, I got you, bro.
Yeah.
I'll speak to some of that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're talking about STEM in the traditional sense and STEM in this new sense, I can tell you historically, like, I wasn't the best student. And I wasn't the best student because, you know, I was just singularly interested in games, like, since I was 9. And anything that I didn't see that was applicable to that sort of fell by the wayside. So when people ask me, like, how did you get into this? And I say, well, I have always been into this, right? Like sitting at a table, for example, with my gamer friends, and them saying to them, you know, to each other, wouldn't it be cool if we did this for a living? And I just looked around and I said, well, I don't know about you cats, but this is exactly what I'm going to do. Like, and, you know, and so I've had that drive. But what's important about education is actually drawing the parallels between what we do and what can be found in traditional education, so that these things don't lose their weight, right? And so and it's simple. I mean, if you take music, for example, I remember watching this Coke commercial one time, and the dad was downstairs and he was listening to "You're All I Need to Get By," right? But you know, you heard the Method Man Mary J. Blige version going on upstairs, and he's banging, and he bangs on the ceiling, and he says, "Turn that noise off." All right. But it's really the same lesson being taught, right? And so when I tell kids, like, listen, when you're watching this game, or even seeing this movie or reading this book, understand where, you know, this is Shakespeare. You just don't realize that you're actually looking at King Lear, or this is Macbeth, or something like that. So trying to actually tie these things together that happen in, you know, sound, technology, engineering, media, whether or not it's, you know, or traditional STEM, all those things combined, because what we do every day, all day, is simulate reality. And the more you know of reality, and the more you know of how, you know, artistically things happen through the ages, the better off you're going to be coming up with something new. Because at the end of the day, you're going to realize there's not much that's brand new, but there's just new takes on it. New takes, right? Yes. So what I'm saying, Christian, so that you know, is mass communications, for example, is huge, because understand right now we build these virtual worlds. And because we build these virtual worlds, once upon a time, it used to be like graphics. Graphics used to be like the thing. That's not necessarily the thing anymore, because usually people only work in 2 engines. They usually work in Unity, or they work in Unreal, right? But the question really is what do you do in those? What do you do in those worlds? And how do you distribute that information on a mass scale to people so that they can better understand, or they can better participate in what you're doing? So mass communications is huge now, because it is, you know, if you're looking at all the streamers, all the different games, that's all that's important now is that, you know, you're awesome and you're able to tell that to everyone else.
And Trav, I love you, man, the way you broke that down, son. So, now I want to add to that real quick, bro.
Gerard,
I'm sorry.
Let me hop in here real quick, because I think that you all are touching on a couple things that I definitely want to get back on, because it's one of the questions I had. But, you know, we're talking about the evolution. I just kind of want to briefly recap some of the things that you all mentioned. Is that, you know, when you talk about chasing your dreams and not chasing money, I think that's extremely important. It's something that anytime I talk to particularly college students, I try to make sure to hammer that home, that it's so important, because if you follow something that you're passionate about, the money will follow, right? And so it's such an important, an important point to go up on.
That's huge.
The other thing,
that's huge.
I can't
say that again, Brandon. Say it again.
Brandon,
say that again.
That's important. That's important, Brandon.
I will do it. I will do it. Chase your dreams. Don't chase money. Because when you chase what you're passionate about, the money will almost always take care of itself, right?
That's right.
Because you're going to work harder, you're going to be more passionate about it. You're gonna put the work in because it's not work to you, right? It's something that you're passionate about, and that's the reason LeBron James is amazing at basketball. He was born to play basketball. He loves it. He's passionate about it. And so it's nothing for him to stay up all night and shoot or, go lift weights or put $1 million a year into his body, because he loves it. And that's why he's great at it. And that's why, the next tier down is such a gap between LeBron and there's LeBron and there's everybody else, right? And so, and it's not by accident or happenstance.
That's right.
So definitely wanted to highlight and lift that from your comments. But the other thing, and this is a little bit just about a funny thing that I heard as you all were kind of talking, heard someone mention like the social aspects of gaming, have evolved so much. My social aspect of gaming from my perspective is piling people up either in my house or my dorm room, watching people play, Madden, and you just laugh at the person. It's like, get off the sticks, 21-0, like that's it, go ahead, see you later. And the best person in the dorm then wanted to go play the best person in the next dorm. That was how the gamers were discovered, in 2000, in the early 2000s. And now, to your point, with the advent of YouTube and social media and things like that, is so definitely caught that. But as the other thing I wanted to get to was this: people were asking, like, well, should the new STEM be incorporated into these curriculums? What, from you all's perspective, what do you think, where should students go, or what resources would you all recommend to students who don't have that esports or gaming classes or that curriculum on their campus, right? How should they prepare to become more competitive in this space? I think that's important. There's a question I wanted to ask after hearing you all's dialogue. So, Jacqueline, maybe we start with you with that one.
Okay, yeah, sure. I think, Travis, you stated something, but Gerard, I think you did as well. Really understand where you fit into the pipeline of gaming. And I say that to where here's what the pipeline consists of. Everything starts with design and ideation, concept. What is it? So it all starts on paper. It all starts with writing. And I'm seeing a number of people on here that are asking about, if I'm a writer, can I fit into gaming? Everything starts with a game is on paper, in writing, ideating, trying to figure out what is this game experience going to be. From there, it goes into the rest of the pipeline with artists who have to take that and conceptualize. Even for a character, guys, we have to, Travis, you know this better than any of us, right? You have to really define what that character is. You really, really have to hone in to truly direct an artist to really capture the essence of what that character is going to be, so that he can literally start drawing that on paper. And then it goes into the 3D pipeline. You never even get from everything starts with that concept, that idea, and how that game is going to get played and what's the aspect of it. And then you go into the pipeline with artists, and they're drawing concepts, environments, 2D concept, illustrators, and so forth. You go into the 3D pipeline, all the modeling, before it ever even gets into the game from the sound standpoint. Then you've got to bring in all the sound elements to it, right? Gerard, and on every sound that you hear in a game has to be created. And some of that is either in-house, or if you're doing things based upon a lot of music, which now everything is a lot of music, right? It's all being integrated into the game itself. And then the programming aspect of it falls into play. So what I would state to you, understand where your skill and your expertise is, and hone that and own it. you will be able to get into the gaming industry because of you, just as you say, you're passionate, you're good at what you're doing, and you can go and apply because you'll be able to have, oh, hey, I'm a writer. I've written a game concept on this, this, and this. This is what I do. So if you know that that's the area that you would like to go in, and that's your level of expertise, you will be able to get into the gaming industry. A lot of times people just don't know what that video game pipeline is. So understand, and I would say do some level of homework to understand that game pipeline. Yeah, there are tools out there that exist that companies like Microsoft provides different tools, and I can share some of those things with you, Travis. You can probably share them certain tools that they could utilize or take advantage of. But the key thing, understand and know the pipeline, be an expert at what your area is, know it and know it well. And let me also state to the ladies, do not let any daggone body, and I'm giving you the G-rated version right now, okay? Do not let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do in this space. I was one of the things that that Brandon didn't state from the resume, but I will state to you this: I was Motorola's first African American female general manager, and that was 15 years ago. But do you understand the difficulties, the challenges, what it took, what I had to go through? And then to say I came from an HBCU, right? So people always thought that just because you came from a historically black college, yeah, you could compete or you couldn't. We don't know, But I was 31, 32 years old when I became a general manager. So I was kicking, G-rated version, I was kicking butt, okay? So do not let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. Understand the business that you're going in, understand the industry that you're going in, prepare yourself for it, do your homework, and then you go in there and you kick their behind. That's what you do.
I love it.
Can I say that, it reminds me, like, what Jacqueline was saying, like some of my favorite quotes, and I think it's especially in this forum, I need to share them. Like, one of them was by Napoleon, and he said that I feel myself driven towards an end that I do not know. And as soon as I have reached it, as soon as I have, I shall become unnecessary, and Adam will suffice to shatter me. But until that time, all the forces of mankind can do nothing to stop me.
Nothing to stop me.
Right?
That's right.
So don't let nobody tell you what you can or cannot do. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the last one is from Joy Dare, and he said that everything that you ever wanted was sitting on the other side of fear. Okay.
That's right.
Go do that. Right. Don't let anyone discourage you because we already have a lot against us, being minorities. Okay. But don't let anyone deter you, because anyone on this stage, anyone in a position to tell you, how it is in this industry has faced those things that you have, right?
Yeah.
Don't be fearful. Just do the thing. Just do it.
Brandon, right. Brandon, I can say something real quick, or you going to take?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, check this out. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. My email, take this. My email is hiphopgamer@hiphopgamer.net. Take this email. I'm gonna tell you, based on what Travis said and based on what Jacqueline just said, especially, this is what you need to do, because no matter how great you are, skills you got and stuff like that, like who you know and also who knows you plays a very valuable role, because relationships matter as well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna tell y'all what to do. One, right? With the IGDAF Foundation, because you got the IGDA and you got the IGDAF. So with the IGDAF Foundation, every Friday they have a gig where everybody in the gaming industry in every year, all levels, gather in forums like this every week. And then y'all go into breakout rooms and really make your connections, really network. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to want to just Google IGDA or IGDAF. I think it's IGDAF.org. But if I'm wrong,
.org. I think it is.
.org. Yeah. But if I'm wrong, just Google IGDAF. Get involved with that. That's one. Two, LinkedIn. A lot of people may not have the money to get the premium or whatever, but when you're connected with certain people on LinkedIn, when you go to connect to other people and they see that you connected to certain people that's already there, then you get that link up, then you can directly, build a relationship with the people that you need to talk to that got the ability and the power to help you along the way to get to those next steps as well with the work that you have. So you got to do a lot of due diligence on yourself, and you got to know what you want and apply yourself like every day to it, because nobody's going to be busy. I'm just keeping it real. Everybody busy. So whatever you got, anybody that takes time out for you, they want to take time out for something that's going to be a hit. You got to be real with it. So whatever you got, and it's hot and it's fire and you got an opportunity to do something, these are some of the steps that you want to take to be able to build a relationship and build that network. So your work and your and the due diligence that you put into it, it won't go in vain and it won't waste other people's time. Because then what you really want is somebody like Travis and somebody like Jacqueline, myself and others to be like, yo, the gentleman that was on earlier, Christian, I think, we want to be like, yo, Christian is the dude you need to see. When you get that energy like that, then people are like, yo, I got to look at what they got going on. So that's a good way to get discovered. But you got to do your part so somebody could invest their time in you to get you to the next level you want to be. So that's one of the main things I wanted to share with y'all, because everything that Travis and Jacqueline said was spot on. I just want to make sure y'all know the steps to be put in place so that what they said can actually manifest for you. You understand? And we lit right there, son. Oh, it's Hip Hop Gamer at hiphopgamer.net, bro. Let's get it.
Now that's, again, dimes on top of dimes. So look, we have about 7 minutes left in the panel. And unfortunately, I cannot see the questions. So Travis, why don't we start with you? If there's a question in the chat that you can see that you would like to answer, why don't we do that? And we'll give each one of you an opportunity to answer one of those questions and carry us to the end of the panel.
Okay. I see one that says, I am a TV and film major, computer science minor from Howard, and I'm split between TV and film in the gaming industry. Like, should I be a creative director? Creative director is an interesting job description within this business because it uniquely has the ability to trash a product, or lift it up. I would suggest that you pick a lane. Something like that usually is, because film is just not gaming. It's not interactivity. It's just not. And speaking as someone who, it's been part of, the Matrix, movie franchise to, the Alita Battle Angel to Avatar, it's just not the same. You gotta figure out, pick a lane, because while film and non sort of interactive entertainment is someone just experiencing something, sort of vicariously, it's a bit more involved when you do interactivity, because you have to be that person. You have to affect that change. You're not sitting idly watching. So I don't think there's any win. It's splitting up things. Maybe I'm a little TV, maybe I'm a little game or something like that. Pick a lane and go at it, because if anything is abundantly clear at this point in time, especially with COVID happening, is that anyone can work anywhere, right? Like, and so what that means is that the talent pool is, really open now. It's extremely open now. So you can have someone working on your project that lives in Kathmandu, Okay. And for these people who are entering the industry, understand that if that is the case, okay, your competition is not someone who lives in the same neighborhood as you like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's whoever is living on the same planet as you. Okay, and that goes back to what you said, before, Brandon. And I really want to build on this because I believe it with every atom of my being is that figure out what you're good at and pursue it. Pursue it to the point where it doesn't feel like work anymore. Okay, because when that happens, you are going to be unassailable. You will be unassailable. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people go to work and they stay at work for like 8 hours, and then after that they're like, oh, I'm done. Right? No. I don't ever stop working. I don't ever stop working in that way. Right? When I'm playing a video game, I'm not playing a video game. I am studying a video game. I am trying to understand why it's compelling, why it's cool, why it's fun. Okay. So that I can be able to take that feeling or take those mechanics and share them with the people that I'm working with. Okay. And you don't get that way just by playing Street Fighter. You get that way by studying Street Fighter, by being a Street Fighter advocate, by understanding that, so that when people ask you these questions, when you're at a job interview, like why is Ryu better than Ken? Okay. Why is Chun-Li, like, why is Street Fighter better than Mortal Kombat, or vice versa? You're going to be able to answer those questions because you have devoted your life to this. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And that is what it takes to succeed at the highest level in this new economy.
Mm. Amazing.
You're working within that passion.
Yes.
You're exactly correct, Travis.
Make it your job.
And I never feel as though that I'm working a day in my life. I don't. Never.
Should I ask another question, Brandon? Or
Hey, go ahead and answer one, and then we'll let Jacqueline. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So Julian Ross, she said, "I produce music. It's my passion. Is there a lot of competition? Do I have to know somebody to find a real opportunity in the industry? No idea where to start." So here's what I want to say. The first thing is, you said, is there a lot of competition? So what? Like, don't even think about the competition. Focus on you. Right. You let the audience and everybody else talk about it. LeBron ain't worried about what somebody's saying about him. He just go out there and win championships. Right. You just do your part. Forget the competition, because the competition is going to be looking at you because you're great. So focus on your greatness. That's the first thing. Second thing is this. Here's what I would do if I was you, especially with the music that you produce. So a lot of these gaming companies, right? They got Twitch channels now, social media now, and community managers and stuff like that. So I would go into, subscribe, like follow all their streams. Whenever they go live, I would be like the first one on there, because you got to turn the notifications on. So I will be like the ultimate fan of everybody that's going on live doing their thing. And I would always comment, always say, hey, build a relationship directly by being a fan of theirs. They will see you all the time and get used to that name. It then said, hey, who do I reach out to? And they would gladly, because you want to know why? Because you are what they are looking for. That's why they created these outlets to reach people like you. Everything is, look, all the rules have changed, all right? All this stuff back in the day in the 80s and stuff like that, these rules have changed. People are getting jobs over Twitter. You understand what I'm saying? Everything has changed. Yep. So what you have to do is figure out who the community managers are. Matter of fact, there's a great website called gamespress.com. 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 When you go to gamespress.com and you're able to be a member, you get access to the PR and all of these people. So what I'm saying is, these is ways where you could take your profession to the next level with the people that are looking for you, that's in a position to help you. You understand? So that's what you have to do. Get into the comment section of these companies, all of it. Make sure they know who you are. So when you provide something to them, they can be like, oh yeah, that's Julian. Like that's Julian, and I've seen them all the time. Let me see what they got. Build the relationship.
That's real. That's real. Look, Gerard, like I've been in business for a long time. I have never had a better sort of example of how to guerrilla market yourself. So big up to you for that.
Much love, thank you. But yeah, that's what I would say.
And Jacqueline, appreciate that, Gerard. And Jacqueline, we'll let you take us home with any with one question that you would like to answer as well.
You want me to start first, Brandon?
Yes, whichever question in the chat that you see that you would like to answer.
Oh,
sure.
One of the questions I see Hannah has placed something out for on the chat a couple of times. Hannah, look, let me. I think I want to go off of exactly what Gerard and Travis, everyone is stating. Whatever it is that you are passionate about, and I see that you said that, hey, they didn't have any women, a Black woman of representation in a certain field, so you gave up. If that is your, I'm trying to be G-rated, if that is your particular passion, you stay in that lane, and who gives a darn about representation? You are going to be the best at it, and you freaking go do it. And they will have no choice but to deal with you because you are great at what you do. I was great at what I did, which is how I became a general manager. I did not become one because there were no representation. I didn't give up because there wasn't one. I became the first, and I was good at what I did. Let me rephrase that. I was freaking great at what I did, and I kicked butt. And that is what you go and do. You drive yourself, and you drive everyone. It's like that energy. And we're talking about Gerard. He brings so much energy. What happens in a particular space when people see you, that you've got this expert, it's like, that's the one. Let's go. Let's go with her. We're following, we're working with her, we're making it happen. Do not give up on your dreams because and who you want to be, because somebody else, there's nobody else that's there. You lead the way, you lead the path, you be the trailblazer, and then you pull other people to come with you and behind you. Do not close the door. Open the freaking door and go through it, and you bring everybody else behind you.
Facts.
That's what I was saying.
Facts. Don't let nobody steal that joy. Facts.
I love that, and we got to get our close, because I think of all of that we've talked about, obviously each one of our panelists are well respected and in their fields, and each of you obviously know what you're talking about and share a passion. I think if there's one thing to take out of this, it sounds like it's just, again, follow that passion, follow what it is that you're passionate about. Don't let anything stop you. And I would just say this to close this out, is that the comment about the competition. I will never forget watching the Olympics. It was the one, I think it was 2016 Olympics, and there was a swimming event, and the swimmer who was out in front literally never took his head out of the water, never looked left, never looked right. The second place swimmer, however, was leading the race at one point. He started to look at the leader, right? He started to look at the person in second place, who then became the leader, because that person took their eyes off of the prize and took their eyes off of what their focus should have been, and they ended up losing them. So that's a real life example, but it was so symbolic. And I've seen a couple of pictures of that, and it's actually one of the pictures that I want, and I'm going to get framed to put in my office, because I think it's so important. Absolutely. Stay focused on what it is. Run the race that's out before you. Worry about anybody else.
It's for you.
Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do. You're talking to 4 people, 3 specific in esports, but 4 people on this panel who in one way, shape, or form have been the first in their industry, have been a unicorn, have been unique in some way, shape, or form. And so that's all you need. Blaze your own trail. We actually have a responsibility to do that for the people behind you. So Appreciate everyone for joining. Thanks for having us on, and enjoy the rest of the panel for today.
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
everybody. All right.